What up, baby? Kyle Santillian here. Listen, man, we are live on location today, Santa Monica, California, at Hidden Empire Films headquarters, right? Director Deon Taylor here today, right? We might walk through the facility, talk to the homie Joseph Sikora about the new movie Fear coming out this coming January. So stick around for that. We'll check out the facilities. Make sure you rock with us for a minute, man. Let's get to it. All right, let's get to it, man. We out here live on location. It's your boy Kyle Santillian. You know what time it is. Hidden Empire Films is where we are. Santa Monica, California. This is the headquarters for director, producer Deon Taylor's right here. What's going on, brother?
What's happening, man? Thank you so much for being here.
Come on, man. Thanks for having me.
We brought Chicago to LA, man. It's crazy right now, man.
And speaking of Chicago, Chicago's already here.
It's already here.
Joseph Sikora's in the building. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So you already brought Chicago out here before I got here because you guys have been working together for a while now. You have a new movie, Fears, coming out in January.
Yes.
But you guys go back to Intruder, you know what I mean? And then more recently, you've directed episodes of Tommy, Power Book Force, you know what I mean? And now you guys are putting Fear out together.
Yes.
You know, what is it about the chemistry between you two that allows you to keep working like this?
Oh, man.
Trust. I mean, to me, it's trust. When I first saw Deon work in The Intruder, it was in a way that I had not experienced in a typical Hollywood format. And by that, I mean that Deon, of course, like everybody I respect, treated the porter the same way he treats the CEO. He treats we're all in this together. We're all different parts that are of this one machine. But then Deon has ideas. Deon is a yes and guy. So it was like, memorize the lines, understands what's happening, but be free and present in the moment. There's nobody who's more free and present in the moment than Deon Taylor, because he realizes that's where the magic is for filmmaking and for creation in any craft. So when I saw him, what he did with The Intruder, real quick story, is when the bottle was getting hit over my head when Dennis Quaid was...
On his birthday.
On my birthday. Was hitting the bottle, and he did it, and it didn't break, and he just kept going. So he knocked it with the glass that it actually cut my head, and real blood came down. And Deon's behind there, and he's, like, keep going, like let it go. It was that, but then he was just like... He's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes. He goes, okay, let's go again. And but like checked in on me, made sure everything was safe.
Right.
But then was just like, that's it. That's the energy we need. Let's go in that direction. Deon is not afraid to change the script in the moment. And Deon has it in his head. Like many other directors don't. They do check things off of a list. Deon knows everything he shot, everything he needs to shoot, and what that film is going to look like in his head while he's shooting it, which is super impressive. And it's wonderful for an actor, for me, to be part of that. He's a true actor's director.
That's what's up. That's a hell of a compliment.
That is, man. Thank you for that, man.
Yeah,
no, it really is, man. No, I would just say and concur to what he just said about me, which is why I love him. I think when you do this, as long as I've been doing it from an independent standpoint, the biggest thing that you have to find are actors and people that trust you, because you don't always have the necessities that are typically given in Hollywood and film. Like I don't have the most money, I don't have all the toys, so the one thing that I have to rely on is the fact that I have to have a real bond with an actor so that we could actually do more than is normal or normally required. So even on The Intruder, that was interesting because he's talking about the bottle and being hit, which was great, by the way, which is in the movie.
Yeah.
But on the other side of the bottle was Dennis Quaid that was doing it over and over and over again. You know what I mean? And moving furniture and helping and Ely and Megan. And it's a big deal, man. Like, this dude is special. And I was telling him earlier, I was been blessed enough that 50 Cent and him allowed me to come shoot 2 finales of Power, which has been phenomenal. But there's a reason people are not just attracted because it's something, oh, that's really good. Like the writing is great. All of those things work. But at the center of it has to be something that they love.
Right.
In any of these shows, you know what I mean? You think about Power, you think about Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Martin, Jamie Foxx show. There's something at the center that people are attracted to, like, and then Joe has that. And so this bond that I've created with him, a brotherhood, goes well past film. And this movie really solidified that. Fear was one of the ones where we actually broke out of a business mode and we went into a brother mode, where I called him and said, man, I have something. And what he just said, which was trust, was like, I don't have a script.
I said, send me the script. You're like, I don't have a script. But I got the idea. But I got the idea.
Right.
And it's old school filmmaking, man. Like, it is really, but film is that way.
Right.
You could have a screenplay that everyone thinks is incredible, and you could fuck it up.
Right.
With not the right filmmaker. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, or if you're not, it reads well, but does it shoot well?
Right.
And so for me with this movie, Fear, man, it was special, man. Like the movie has a kinetic energy led by Joe, but we all came together in the middle of something that we didn't know how it would shake out.
So I definitely want to get into that. So for those that don't know, Fear was shot and filmed in the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when everything was shut down, when you couldn't go anywhere without a COVID test. You guys were still out here making magic. First and foremost, how was that process, setting that up, and how was it working with that, fear of COVID every day? The name of the movie was Fear, but people were really scared during the pandemic.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, man, and I want to be very honest when I tell you, and I want to say this because I think it's important for people to know. Mm-hmm. This was the first movie in the country that was shot during COVID. And I want to remind, because now COVID's like, it was a long time ago, a couple years ago. But here's the thing. We're talking about there were no tests.
Right.
We're talking about they were doing the thing up your nose.
Far up your nose, they were tickling your brain.
Yeah, they had to send it. They had to take those tests to a lab.
Right.
Now it's like you squish on the thing. You do it like this is like this was a bad time.
Yeah.
And so the regiment to get the movie made was pretty dynamic. Where Roxanne, who produced the film, was basically we were in Tahoe. We had to have a guy in a car every day test us, put everything into a locked case, and drive it to LA to a testing facility.
How far is that drive?
7 hours.
Mm-hmm. Every day.
Every day. Back and forth. And then what we would do is the results come 24 hours later.
Yeah.
So then what would happen is we would test, and then at lunchtime tomorrow, we would all wait to see if anyone was positive.
Yeah.
Right.
And if they were positive, it was like we have to shut the whole set down.
The whole set,
Did you guys make it through without anybody testing positive?
Not one.
None, nobody. No. And here's another thing, is that there were no rules set by any of the studios, any of the unions. So
everything was so new, right?
It was so new that Hidden Empire Films came up with their own protocol, presented that to the unions. The unions said, we sign off on it. Now you have to have every one of our members sign off on it, who's going to be in the crew or the cast.
Wow.
So this precedes any kind of orientation of how everything is supposed to go. So what an accomplishment for this studio to have be integral in that concept.
It's absolutely insane. So even before you got to that step, there was something in you to say, you know what, I think we can get this done within these circumstances.
No, not I think. He never said
I know we can get this done within these circumstances. What kept you moving forward rather than just saying, yo, let's shut down and sit this out?
I was tired, man. I wanted to do something. Man. I just did Black and Blue. It just came out. The Intruder had just came out. Fatal was like
huge hit.
It was was lingering around, and I was just like, man, I gotta go shoot. And I remember like going up to Tahoe and be like, yo, it's like 2 cases up here. It's nothing but wilderness. We found this lodge that was 100 years old, almost 120 years old, and I was like, wonder if we could like get a group of people and go in here and shoot, like very just independent filmmaking. And those people ended up being Joseph, T.I., Terrence J., Ruby Modine, Annie, you know what I mean? Like all of us, Ito, all of us coming together. And I'll tell you, man, I feel a certain way about the film. I feel like this movie represents like a moment in time for a lot of reasons for me. So, one of the greatest, words of wisdom you could get is like, as a filmmaker, you create art that actually reminds you of a time, right? Or that
like your favorite song almost.
Yeah, like film is that way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And when I watch this movie now, it took us a while to cut, edit. We had to go in and do a few other things, but the movie's phenomenal. And you're like, why is it this good? Yeah. Like even today, I showed you a couple clips, and you're like, damn man, I can't even breathe. And you're like, I can't breathe. And I'm like, why is it that good? Right. And it's because we're really scared.
Yeah.
Like,
So let's talk about the film
yeah,
itself a little bit, because
yeah.
that was the circumstances surrounding the film. But let's talk about the film. You said you got T.I. in it, Terrence J is in it, Joseph is in it, King Bach is in it. You know what I mean? And you guys are out there, and let's set the scene. You're in a cabin, you're in the woods. People, without giving the movie away, of course.
Yeah.
You know, set the scene about what the movie is about.
The movie is about the greatest distraction in life, which is fear. And the movie is set in the world of, if you allow fear to manifest in any circumstance, it will kill you, metaphysically or physically. And that's real. So I thought to myself, man, like, for a long time making these movies independently the way we have, you have to remember, every movie I've made is independent. Every one.
Yeah.
And you have to find a fearless muscle to be able to do that. You're talking about taking money, making a film, trying to get a movie out, returning money, making sure it's good, all that good stuff. One or two of them that don't work, you're done.
Right.
You know what I mean? So a bit of this is like, can you live your life fearless? Are you able to take a chance? Have you ever thought about quitting your job? Have you ever thought about betting on yourself? Have you ever, did you propose to her? Did you divorce her?
Sure.
Right? Fear. It controls us in so many different ways. Every day.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I can't say that. Oh, I can't type that.
Right.
Oh, I better not say that in front of her. And it's like, wow, like, if you understand, like, that if you could just remove it, what you have the possibility of becoming and being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what the movie's about. And what we try to do is we try to make a horror film that gives you everything you want. Jumps, bumps, screams, jokes, everything that the classic horror movie made that we know. This movie has all of it.
I'm going to tell you what I love about that, because when we were growing up, man, there was nothing better than, it was 4 boys in my house. My brother and 2 cousins that grew up in the house with us. And we loved nothing more to walk to the rental store, pick out a VHS tape, and we would pick out horror movies by, I don't know, look at that cover. Does that look scary?
Yeah.
I don't know. This one looks scary.
Yeah.
We get it, and we go watch the movie, and when everybody's jumping, we're laughing at you.
Yeah.
You were scared on that part. So I'm looking forward to seeing that with this movie. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And for you, Joseph, and you doing so many different things. Like, a lot of people know your character, Tommy Power. You know what I'm saying? He's the gangster. We've seen you in Intruder. We've seen you on Ozarks and doing all these different characters. So for you in this horror space, what's that like for you as an actor?
Well, because I've been doing this for so long, I mean, people often forget that I've been in dozens and dozens of television shows and portrayed dozens and dozens of different characters. So
Boardwalk Empire, let's take it back.
Boardwalk Empire, True Detective, Banshee, Law and Order SVU, Grey's Anatomy. I don't know, I play the pregnant guy again. But I dive into the roles, man. I dive into the roles, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. We're talking about fear, so it's like there is a certain fearlessness where I'm not afraid to jump into the role. Deon told me who he thought this character was, and then really pushed me to embrace the difference of that character certainly from Tommy, but also different from me.
Yeah.
Go further with that. This guy loves those little facts. This guy he's a writer. Yeah. And he writes historical fiction. So he really dives into this project to kind of create this story. And he's like, you're choosing your work over your girl. Right. And I think we've all done that. I mean, what happens is we often choose our job over family. You and I were talking about that earlier. So Ram is kind of conflicted with this. Which comes first? Can you have both? I love the concept of Ram thinks he can have his girl and his work in equal portions. And so there's that whole concept of what do I need to pour myself into more? Can I keep this from her? No, I wasn't doing that. Yeah, you were. Yeah. Honesty, transparency. How are you starting off this relationship? So he really, really pushed me to and we're doing this in like a couple of days. But me like, oh no, I don't know, D, I don't know. And he's like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Go home and go think about it. Don't do anything else. Go home, think about that guy, and come back tomorrow with more of that. Yes, this guy, yeah, that's what he's thinking. And then when I made the choices, I think another great thing that he does to the actor is that as long as you make a choice, no matter what that choice is, and commit to it fully, Deon says yes. Keep going. Yes. So that really
play out.
helped me stick into this guy who you see the small fears, not like in a spider web on him or kind of, this and that and the other thing, but also the much bigger fear of being alone and loss and non-commitment and true fear of commitment, which I think is pretty common.
Yeah.
Common too, and that's the biggest thing for my character, and I think that everybody else in the film for sure has their own major concept, the biggest thing of fear. Another thing that I love is that fear as a concept is what a concept is, but we're showing a physical manifestation as well in fear. Now that just doesn't mean it necessarily becomes into a monster. It could.
Right.
But it also manifests itself physically in us. It changes us into things that we don't like.
Thoughts become things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
And words are powerful.
Yeah.
Facts. I feel like I always wondered this about horror movies specifically. Action movies, you see the action, people are fighting, whatever. Horror movies, we know the final product is meant to scare you. But when you're in the process of filming it, do you have that? Obviously, you're acting at that time, but do you have that same?
That lodge was terrifying. That lodge was terrifying, and actually, I think it was 1858 is when it was built.
Yeah, you're right.
So it was like it's like 170 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, people died in there. What weird things happened in there for sure in real life.
Right.
In real life. And then I remember one of the people who owned it. They're like, yeah, no, the spirits here are friendly. I was like, wait.
The spirits here are friendly.
Yeah, I think like all things, I think horror movies, are no different than a true drama, a true story. There are moments that happen as a filmmaker and as an actor or actresses that you have a brief moment where you're like, yo, this is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're acting or you're directing or you're whatever. But when you get into these moments that are horrifying, I know for me, I'm all in. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel it. You know what I mean? I want to understand. Like, I want to get myself scared. So a little bit of this is like, how do you do that?
Right.
But you'll be fascinated to see when you set a scene and you lower the lights in the hallway and it's dimly lit.
And now you're feeling it.
And now an actress is in there and I'm calling out a cadence of what's going on at the end of that hallway in that door.
Yeah.
And everyone just sinks down and you allow fear to seep in. Yeah, you get a couple months, we like, yo, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Or but that's what you want to go for.
Right.
If you're not feeling that, I don't know if you're doing it right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I would say this, man, like this movie, man, like all the movies I've ever made. I was telling somebody earlier, man, I make movies for audiences. I was the dude going to get the movies like you.
Yeah.
And and I remember all of them: Toxic Avenger, Pumpkinhead, Leatherface.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All those movies, Leprechaun, like
Right.
Chucky, the first Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Hellraiser was fucking scary as hell.
Scary as hell. Pinhead,
Yeah,
that was
Pinhead
crazy.
I'm
was
telling
wild.
you, man, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yup.
Jumping Rope.
Candyman, all them movies.
So what I'm saying is, that's real horror to me.
Right.
And guess what? None of those movies were received well by critics.
Right.
They were received well by us. And then they become classics. And then they become what they need to be. I make those movies, man. I feel like fear is going to be different. The more and more I watch it, the more and more I engage with the film, the more and more I allow people to come and chime in and watch and understand that there's a message in here, like a universal message that goes well beyond what you're watching on screen. The reality is, what is your fear? And if you're in the room by yourself, completely alone, being honest with yourself, and that fear came in that room with you, could you actually outduel it and get out of the room? Period. And now, most people won't be honest to answer that. But whatever that darkest fear is that you have, because this is all mental,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I said this before. I said the scariest thing is the human brain. You cannot outduel it. You cannot, whatever you can manifest here is far scarier. 1970, Rosemary's Baby, and make a movie, they never show you the baby. Because they know what you're thinking is far more scary than anything I can show you.
So let me end with this then. What is maybe the biggest fear you've had to overcome just in your career, in your life in general? I'll start with you.
Well, my biggest fear is the fear of failure, and because I'm also I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Had a I think we've all had rough parents who love us, but at least for me, I know my parents love me for sure. But my dad was tough. My dad was tough, and definitely was always afraid of letting him down or failing. And this is such a tough business.
Yeah.
I also developed stage fright after I was on Broadway. For 10 years. So it was 3 years into the Power show that I actually, my flame that I thought maybe got put out was actually started to grow to a part where I was like, wow, I got it back. I came back. But I had to restructure my whole kind of life and understanding. My brain had to reprocess itself to not just be cocksure and know like I got this, I can become other people, but actually learn my process step by step to get it back.
Right.
So yeah, my biggest fear was a fear of failure, and now it is not my biggest fear.
I still have that fear a little bit.
I mean, I do too a little bit, but it doesn't control my life.
Right. I got you. Yeah, me and my cousin were having this conversation too, because again, I told you I had two cousins that grew up in the house with me, and we've been through some things as kids, and he's really doing well now. And I was like, yo, so what do you think it was that kind of just got you out of your funk a little bit? And he was like, honestly, my fear of failure got him out of his funk. Like, because you're in the funk, maybe you're starting to sink away. Look, you're not doing the things you're supposed to do. Wait a minute, I don't want to be a failure. Let me get back on my job. You know what I mean? So it kind of worked, I guess maybe an opposite way for him, but more of a motivator, so to speak.
Yes, yeah.
How about for you?
Oh, man.
Because you've been credited as being fearless in this whole process. With Hidden Empire, with putting out these movies and how you direct. People say Deon is fearless.
Yeah, it's not a lot that scares me or makes me be afraid. I mean, I have a lot of, moments where I'm like, damn, you crazy. Yeah, but you gotta be a little crazy.
Right.
I think the thing that strikes fear in me the most is time. I am extremely fearful of time, meaning, I have kids. So I find myself a lot of times being like, God, I want to be here for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like God, man, make sure I'm 10 more years or 15. Like, that goes through my brain a lot.
Yeah.
Where you like, damn, man, like, I just want to make sure, and there's no answer to that.
Right, you can't, yeah.
There's no money, there's no person. Like, when you're looking at your kids and you're like, man, I just want to make sure I'm here when they get a little older. You know what I mean? Yeah. But then that also comes from losing people.
Right.
In your life. You know what I mean? Like, I watched, my dad passed, my mom has dementia. You know what I mean? So a little bit of it's like time, like you don't want to get sick or not be there, so I think that's what's very fearful for me.
Yeah.
But like I said, these fears, man, like that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It almost grounds you at times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the other part of it is like the normal everyday fears. I think once you jump enough times, you like, I'm not scared to jump anymore. This filmmaking is jumping.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, you gonna jump out the plane? Oh, I ain't doing that shit. You like, I'm gonna jump out the plane? I ain't doing that shit. Then somebody push your ass, like, oh shit. You do the thing, so then he's like, damn, I done jumped out the plane 14, 15 times now with film.
You good.
So to me, I go like, man, what are y'all talking about? What do you mean you scared of, like, you mean you can't go get $1 million to make your movie? You can't get $100,000? Like, I'm that dude. But this movie, man, we need everybody out there to support
for sure.
In a real way. And when we talk about independent filmmaking and the spirit of filmmaking and Black excellence and all these wonderful things we talk about, we seen people put dashikis on and go see Black Panther. I was one of them.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we see people support in a real way. Like this movie to me, man, people always support us in a real way, man. Everybody that has supported us, like I try my hardest to be like, yeah, thank you, because it's a group of people that really support my movies.
Yeah.
And they all are dreamers. I call us dreamers. And this one though,
yeah,
we gonna do this one for the culture because we made it by ourselves. We made it independently.
Yep.
Joe is a producer. T.I. is a producer.
Yeah.
Terrence is a producer. These guys came and gave it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can't imagine, man. You talk about, I'm just getting into this because I think about like, yo, how do you make an independent movie? This is how.
Right. Get your people together and make it happen.
How do you do it? This is how.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like everybody just came together and did something, and we didn't know.
Right.
You know, 8 months ago, I was like, I remember I seen the first cut, I was like, damn, it's a movie in here. Because, you know, you run around and shit, you like shoot stuff. I'm like, damn, what's that going to be? And then all of a sudden, you be like, oh, man. And then I remember the first day we was in the editing room, and I said, oh.
We got it.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if you got all the pieces. We shot this movie in, 15, 16 days.
Right.
And you're like running, and you're gunning, and Joe broke his knee on the set, and he was with a cane.
How'd you break your knee?
Trying to stay in shape for the film.
But we're excited, man. I think this one, we coming to Chicago first.
Yeah, for
Yep,
sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I know I'm excited about it. Hopefully everybody else is excited about it, man. It's good to see you guys once again. And last words for everybody in Chicago and around the world, man, about the film. And
Go
just
see
about
Fear
the film.
January 27th. Support independent film, support Hidden Empire film, support Chicago, support America, support the world, but go see Fear January 27th. It's the best movie of the year. I can only promise you that.
I can only promise you that, okay?
I love it, man. January 27th, man. Go see Fear, man. We're going to be there.
No doubt, man. Deon Taylor, Joseph Sikora, Fear, Hidden Empire Films doing big things, man. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Kyle.